What is going on, Jets fans? It's your boy DT back with another video. Today, I wanted to talk about Jets owner Woody Johnson and the comments that he made this afternoon at the owners' meeting in New York City. When speaking to reporters today, he was obviously asked a ton of questions regarding his current quarterback and head coaching choices in Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn, respectively. And here's what he had to say. I'll pull up a couple tweets from the beat. This one from Rich Samini saying, Woody Johnson, speaking to reporters at the NFL meetings in New York City, says he has faith and confidence in Aaron Glenn that he can turn it around. Johnson says that they can start winning, quote, if we can just complete a pass, end quote. He wouldn't weigh in on Fields versus Taylor, but it's clear where this is going. Taylor. So first and foremost, Woody's not really entirely wrong there. If the Jets could complete a pass, they probably have at least one win on their record last week against the Denver Broncos, where Justin Fields simply could not complete a pass. And then if you complete a pass in this game that just passed against the Carolina Panthers, where you lose 13-6, granted, the difficulty of those passes was probably, ramped up a bit. Obviously, those deep shots by Tyrod Taylor, but if you could just complete any of those passes, you're in the ball game, tied or potentially leading if they hit those passes. So I don't want to say Woody is entirely wrong with that statement, but also you can't keep trotting out these sorry ass quarterbacks and expect things to change in this organization. So then he goes on to say, Woody Johnson at the owners meeting in New York on Aaron Glenn, quote, I do believe in Aaron, end quote. Said he has hope for the future even as things look bad right now. Quote, the offense is just not clicking. You can't run the ball if you can't pass the ball. Again, it's not entirely wrong by Woody saying those things. Teams are going to key in on the Jets' run-first philosophy, especially when you consider the fact that their quarterbacks are incapable of completing efficient passes throughout the entire game. You can't drop back on a screen pass and not throw the ball into pressure. When you have a blitz coming off the right side and you have a hot answer in a tunnel screen on that right side, Justin Fields has to throw the ball. You can't get defenses to play off and, go back to their too high shells if you're just going to run the ball. So the condensed formations and the lack of efficiency when passing between both Fields and Taylor is going to create this, right? They want to be a run first team. It's entirely hard to be one dimensional and run the football the entire time. It's hard to be one dimensional, period, in the NFL on offense. It's much, much harder to be one dimensional running the football. You need to be in good game scripts and you need to have competent quarterback play for the majority of each game. And right now, the Jets are not getting either of those. And then this one from our guy, Will Pa. Shout out to Will, Badlands, and TOJ, basically surmising the entire interview of Woody Johnson by saying Glenn is absolutely going nowhere and Fields is never playing a snap again for the Jets. Listening to those comments from Woody Johnson, absolutely agree. I don't think Aaron Glenn is going anywhere in the offseason. I think he'll be back for year two, whether we like it or not. At this point, you can agree, you can disagree. The reporting last week from the beat, which clearly sounds like it was fed by ownership, said Glenn was not going anywhere despite what the results of 2025 are. Woody then doubles down today, says he embraces Aaron Glenn, gives him a hug every day, tells him he believes in him, is telling Jets fans to, quote, keep the faith. And it's kind of obvious that the AG is probably coming back. Now, things can change. There's 10 games left in this season for Aaron Glenn to potentially show us that he's worth the job next year. There's also 10 games for Woody Johnson to be influenced by outside noise based on this regime. So the next 10 games are going to be crucial for this franchise, whether it's, you want to see losses, whether you want to see wins, whether you want AG back or not. I feel like the next 10 games are going to be so important and crucial for the not just short-term success of this franchise, but the long-term success of this franchise. You can't keep doing these half measures where you swap out coaches and then you bring in a young quarterback and then the new coaches fail the young quarterback and you're just constantly doing half measures and not fully resetting. They tried to reset at GM, head coach, and quarterback this year for the first time since Woody Johnson took over as owner. He's always had a retained GM pick a head coach or a retained head coach pick a quarterback. So this was the first time in 25 years as him being the owner where the Jets started fresh, started clean at all three spots. Still not working out. Now, can you move off the quarterback and allow this coaching staff to bring in a new young quarterback? Potentially. I completely understand if fans out there do not trust this regime to make those decisions. But ultimately, they all just need to be on the same page. And right now, it seems like the page that Woody's on is AG is going to be back. Justin Fields is probably done as a quarterback for the New York Jets. So prepare to see Tyrod Taylor for the remainder of the season. Obviously, until injury or what have you happens, and then you potentially see Brady Cook or somebody else that they add as that fourth quarterback who's going to start for this team. Truly amazing how we get 3 to 4 quarterbacks every season starting for this team. Last year was the only year where we had one quarterback play all 17 games. And yes, you could probably have argued that Rodgers should have sat for maybe 1 or 2 of those games, specifically the Minnesota game in London. After that, I felt like he was a little compromised and probably shouldn't have played. But this was the first time in probably a decade that the Jets have had one starting quarterback all year long. So we're back into that revolving door of quarterback play. Clearly, Woody Johnson is fed up with the quarterbacking of this team. Shades of 2022 postseason interview by Woody Johnson where he says, all we need is a quarterback. And that prompted the trade for Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see how the next 10 games go. Very crucial for AG, crucial for Tanner Engstrand, crucial for any quarterback that thinks that they're going to be back next year. At this point, it doesn't look like Fields is going to be back in any capacity next year. Can Tyrod show you anything over the last 10 that says maybe we get him back as, you know, the 37-year-old backup to a rookie quarterback? That is yet to be solved or answered, those questions. But until then, 10 games left. We got to prepare for the Cincinnati Bengals. Just wanted to come on and share my thoughts about Woody Johnson's comments. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. I'm DTereman. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. Let's go, Jets.